Hello everybody, this is Shilpa Gogre from Department of Mathematics, Mahर्षि दयानंद College, Mumbai. This particular example is part of the first year BSc Mathematics paper 1, first chapter or first unit you can say. What we have to prove is that for any two real numbers, let's say AB, if A into B is 0, then A is 0 or B is 0. Okay, so let us prove it. Suppose A is 0, correct? Then there is nothing to prove. But if A is not 0, suppose A is not 0, then I should prove that B is 0. So I'm starting with A not 0 and I should end with B is equal to 0. Correct? The last statement of this proof should be B is equal to 0. And then it is done. Now please remember what is given here, whatever is after if, that is given. So here this is given, A into B is 0. And what is TPT? This is the TPT. Okay, so I have considered the situation that A is not 0. Then I should prove that B is equal to 0. Correct? Now, what do you know about a non-zero real number? A very peculiar thing you know about a non-zero real number is, as A is not 0, A inverse exists. What is A inverse? I am writing it as A inverse, but in your mind you understand it as multiplicative inverse of A. It exists. Now let us start with the given fact. Since AB is equal to 0, what I'll do is I will multiply both the sides of this particular equation by A inverse. Okay, so I'm writing multiplying both sides by A inverse, and on the left hand side I am multiplying, so I get A inverse. Here you have B, AB is equal to A inverse and 0, correct? Which implies, let me shift the screen little bit up. Okay. Now, starting point was AB is equal to 0, and as I told you, the last statement has to be B is equal to 0. Here my proof is ending. तो यहाँ से इस स्टेटमेंट से B is equal to 0 तक का जो जर्नी है वो मेरा प्रूफ रहेगा. ओके, तो any number multiplied by 0 always give you 0. We have already proved it there, correct? Now on the right hand side I get 0. A inverse into 0 is 0. Yeah, if you see this particular statement, this is example, no? So if you see this, we have proved that you multiply any number by 0, you get the answer 0. Remember, this is not because 0 is additive identity. This is the property of 0. कि 0 से किसी को भी multiply करो आपको 0 answer आता है. Okay. Let us go back to our solution now. Let me change it. Yeah. So A inverse into 0. A inverse is some real number multiplied by 0 gives me 0. What is happening on the left hand side? What should remain on the left hand side? Only B should remain. तो अभी क्या करना पड़ेगा इधर? B के साथ कौन है? A है. तो मुझे B को अकेला रखना है. मतलब क्या? जोड़ी बदल. जोड़ी बदल क्या होता है? That multiplication is associative. Okay. So multiplication is associative. ये left hand side में मैंने use किया. So I am getting A inverse A in the bracket into B. This is because multiplication is associative. And why do I get right hand side 0? Why do I get? Because anything multiplied by 0 gives me 0. Okay, now this implies ये 0 तो ऐसा ही रहेगा, अभी what is A inverse A? What is A inverse? A inverse is multiplicative inverse of A. तो अगर मल्टीप्लिकेटिव इनवर्स से मल्टीप्लाई करते हैं उस नंबर को तो आंसर कितना आता है? 1 आता है. सो आई एम गेटिंग ए इनवर्स इंटू ए एज 1. बी का भी वैसा ही रहेगा. करेक्ट. विच इम्प्लाइज 1 इंटू बी कितना होता है? 1 इंटू बी इज बी. वाई 1 इंटू बी इज बी? बिकॉज 1 इज कौन है? 1 मल्टीप्लिकेटिव आइडेंटिटी. मल्टीप्लिकेटिव आइडेंटिटी. Okay, and so where did I end my last statement? क्या आ गया मेरा? B is equal to 0. So that is what I wanted. So यहाँ का मैं रब कर देती हूँ, यहाँ से कैंसिल कर देती हूँ, and I am getting B is equal to 0. Okay, that is my last statement. Okay, with this the part of the proof is over. Now let us prove the 8th property. Here what we have to show is that if A is non-zero, B is also non-zero, then finding AB inverse is same as B inverse A inverse. Okay, this is what we want to prove now. Now what is given here? Let us see the proof. A not zero, B is also not zero. So non-zero real numbers, that means their inverses are existing. Therefore, what I have is A inverse and B inverse. Both exist in R. Correct? Now you want to prove that AB inverse, that means multiplicative inverse of AB, is same as B inverse into A inverse. To prove that, what I will start with is AB को ले लो, यानी ये वाला पार्ट, और उसके साथ ले लो B inverse A inverse. Suppose I want to prove that X inverse is Y. Suppose I want to prove X is a non-zero real number. X is a non-zero real number and I want to prove that X inverse is Y. Correct? What I should do is कि X into Y should give me 1. That means they are multiplicative inverse of each other. That is by definition. So we are using the same technique here. लेकिन X and Y की जगह पे who are there? I have AB and B inverse A inverse. So I will prove that their product is how much? Is equal to 1. So I'm starting with product of AB and B inverse A inverse. Step by step I will go ahead and I should end with 1. I should prove that this product is 1. फिर उससे क्या प्रूव होगा कि ये वाला पार्ट इसका इनवर्स है या ये वाला पार्ट इसका इनवर्स है. ब्रैकेट के अंदर है उसका इनवर्स, ये सेकंड पार्ट है. दैट विल बी प्रूव्ड आफ्टर दैट. ओके, सो लेट अस कंटिन्यू. Now here what I will do is associativity will be used. I will use the associativity and then what I get is A into B inverse into A inverse. Correct? Then I have B inverse कितना आएगा? B inverse is the multiplicative inverse of B. उनका product कितना आएगा? I will get 1 here and then A here and A inverse here. Why? Because B inverse is the multiplicative inverse of B. Correct? Now what do I get? A into 1, I get A itself and this A inverse will remain as it is. Why? ये क्यों आया? Because 1 is the multiplicative identity. Please note, the basic axioms are the only things which are used over here, nothing else. Let me take the screen up a little bit. Yeah. Which is equal to, now what is A into A inverse? Again, what is A inverse? It is multiplicative inverse of A. तो उनका product कितना आएगा? It will be 1. Why? Because A inverse is multiplicative inverse of A. And so what do I get? We get AB into B inverse A inverse is equal to 1. And therefore, B inverse A inverse is the multiplicative inverse of इसका AB का. And the same statement, how do I write using the notation? Therefore, let me take the screen up. Therefore, AB inverse is equal to B inverse, and there the proof gets over. Okay, thank you.